I'm ready.
All right, we are live, and this is Sky Juice tuning in from the U.S. of A. out here in America. We got who? Who we got here with us?
And this is Tony B. Ready to give my
to be. We're not talking about philosophy. Oh, y'all never heard me rap, so I'm gonna save that for another day.
See Sky Juice.
Yes, I'll bring it one day. Not right now.
Okay.
So anyway, today we're talking about co-parenting, the trash that is co-parenting.
Oh boy.
You're gonna know co-parenting is let me tell you what I feel about co-parenting, about the most beautiful people I know, the most educated, the most elegant, sophisticated people I know. Will go into the depths of hell when it comes to co-parenting. Like, they just lose all sense of reality. They can have a full meeting and they could speak in front of thousands of people, but when it comes to their child and their ex, they have no damn sense. What the hell is going on here?
That is that's the soft spot, right?
Is that what it is? Because it's trash. That's what I'm saying.
Well, but sometimes it just hits a tender spot and you get upset.
People don't know how to navigate co-parenting. Let's just be real.
Okay, people don't even know how to navigate regular parenting. There's no book on that. You just got to figure it out. But I will say this, being able to be a mature adult certainly does help.
That's all it is. No, that's all it is. Parenting is dealing with a child and learning how to deal with a child. That may take time and situations and what have you. But co-parenting is dealing with the other adult. Mm-hmm. Regarding the child. People can't seem to get it together. I don't really understand what's going on out here in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what are you feeling about this? Tell me some experience, because I have some long stories. So
I do too. I mean, I've heard the classic, don't be having the other men around my child, or don't be having any other women, and you can't take your child if I don't know where you're at and who you're gonna have them around and all that. Which to me, I always tell people this: if you go to court and you go through the legal system and the court gives you a court order, the judge doesn't give stipulations on who you can have your child around and all that. And my thing would always be this: if you had no problem being with that person and laying with that person, but now you want to have a issue with their maturity level, not trusting their judgment as far as who they're going to bring around your child, you should have did that in the first place. Because that's what it comes down to a lot. If you feel like, the person that you brought around your child is not going to be mature enough to keep them in a safe space.
I mean, I think we should have a garbage can for parents who really do that to their exes, to tell you the truth. And I'm going to give you a scenario, right? This is going to be a scenario.
Okay.
The scenario is, and this is nobody in particular, because I know it's happened to at least 1 million people. This is really easy, right?
Okay. Oh, you froze up. You froze up. Refresh your page. You're stuck. You must have bad Wi-Fi going on or something there. All right, people, I'm going to try to see if she knows what's going on here, or text her or something. Let her know she's froze up. Oh, there you go. You're back.
Okay, I don't know what happened. It seemed like an internet thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because your Wi-Fi went out there. So as soon as you're about to start, it just froze up. So you got to go back and whatever you were saying to start all over again.
Oh my gosh.
We got some good comments here too. So you can even go to some of the comments.
Do you know there's a crisis going on in I don't know if it's the whole world, but Atlanta's running out of gas. Did you hear about that?
Southeast part of the nation, yeah.
Oh, the southeast.
It's just the southeast part,
It's
yeah.
like a gas pipe or something, right? Oh my.
It was compromised in some way. I don't even know the exact details. I'll be watching the news tonight to figure it out because
Got it. Okay.
yeah,
So I was just like saying there's just so many things going on, and then the internet just goes whoop. Anyway, what I was saying, here's the scenario. There's a couple, they're in love, married or not, whatever, who cares? And I'll just put the guy in the bad in the bad seat, you know, the bad guy seat. And he went and had an affair with, you know, however that happened, and now they are split. Okay, so whatever happened, right?
Uh-huh.
So now they have, like, I'll just say one child, 5 years old, and the mother of the child is bitter as a bitch, like, just, you know.
Yeah.
Diary of an Angry Black Woman, or an angry white, or an angry woman, period.
Angry woman, period. Yeah, there you go.
Woman, period. Right. So, you know, I feel like, and everyone has seen that you got family members, you got cousins, you got best girlfriends who have been in this situation, and they always, like, put him in, like, absolute, like, the zero basket. You get what I'm saying? And there is no love. There is just no love, and there's no boundary. Like, oh, let me add to the scenario. Now he goes off, and now he's with the same woman who he messed around with. Now he's involved in a full-fledged relationship. So now your child has to go over to the house where he's with you know what I'm saying? So, like, feel that. I hope everyone who's hearing out here can feel that energy. How do you properly navigate that scenario?
I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to maturity and being able to have a certain level of maturity to handle the situation. I mean, you know what it is, but at the end of the day, you still have to be able to be there to co-parent, regardless of how much it stings, how painful the situation is. You can't just say you're not going to co-parent, or you're not going to be there, or we're not going to have any communication, or you're not going to have any kind of dialogue. You have to, you know what I mean? You really have to be in there and really, you know, talk and be able to deal with that other person. And what you need to do is, when you get away from the child and you discuss whatever you discuss, be mad, whatever you got to be mad about. But at the end of the day, the child needs their father and needs their mother, both in some sort of way, not together, but in their lives at the same time. I mean, even the more complicated situation where you have a man who, because there's two different parts of the family court system. There's the child support part, and then there's the custody part, right? So you have a father who might be a deadbeat that's not paying any child support, but still having the rights to see their child. And the mom might feel some way about that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm paying I'm doing all this, but you got your right to come and pick up your son and your daughter every weekend, or every other weekend, or you know what I mean? So that's something too that can cause a woman to be upset, you know, and vice versa. Like I said,
it could be vice versa too.
Yeah, it could be.
I think that I think the majority of the heat falls onto the father, primarily because the mothers usually have primary care. But I do feel like whomever is in power with legally, like the one who has the children, tend to be the one who is empowered. So it could be the father. If the father has the children, then he's empowered to treat the mother like trash. You know what I'm saying? Wait, we got some comments. Let me just.
You got plenty of comments. Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Let me jump in. Let's see. Hanny Moo says, heal and grow your own life as an adult. It repels all the other BS. Agreed. Holly says, maybe you get with someone when you're not mature, but you grow and they don't.
Yes.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Time to go.
That absolutely happens.
I had to co-parent with a narcissist. Now I just parallel parent and healed my own life. No issues. I don't even know what that means. Like, what kind of hell is that to live in? Wow. Virginia says, exactly. Suck it up and put on your big girl panties because kids didn't ask to be here.
That's true.
Deal with your disappointment, betrayal, sadness, heartbreak without involving the child. But some people can't do that.
Yeah.
Some people can't do that. They can't separate their emotions from what's actually going on, like the actual business of raising the child. They can't separate that. And the other part you just mentioned, which is the financial piece. If you have a parent that is not able to provide financially, unfortunately, that's a separate issue.
Yeah, exactly. But that's difficult.
That's a
as well,
separate
because
issue.
you're getting all the rights without any of the responsibilities. That's what it kind of feels like for the man or the woman, because it can go both ways.
Yeah. It's a separate issue because the parent can still have, you should still have access to your child, regardless of if you have dollars, cents, or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but how many people don't realize this?
Okay, here goes another one. And it's kind of outside of the realm of what we're talking about, but it's still, you have to be able to parent the situation. So the guy goes out and has an affair, or, whatever you want to call it, and has a baby. And he decides he wants to be there for that baby. So that baby has to come into your house as a reminder of him cheating, or vice versa. She goes out there, she cheats, she gets pregnant, brings a child, and this is not your child, but you have to be able to co-parent the situation.
Oh, co-parent a child that's not part of your relationship.
That was kind of conceived in infidelity. Yeah, I know situations exactly like that too as well.
Well, look at Rita Marley.
You talking about a whole different.
I know, but I'm just saying she had to accept. Like, I think of a public person. That's what I'm trying to think of. She had to accept Bob Marley bringing in all these babies. She had 2 or 3 with him, and he ended up having 11. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe they were poly. We just didn't know about it.
No, I read several books.
I'm just trying.
I read several books. She wasn't happy about that. She felt very hurt by that, his whole lifestyle. But anyway, yeah. But also she realized that she probably realized she's also in a very special circumstance with a man who is giving them a whole world that they never had. So she might have to just hush up and just deal with it, and that's really disempowering for anyone. But Virginia said, "God bless Rita Marley." Yeah, she is a whole machine. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So DJ Pocket says the man or woman cannot let their emotions get in the way of raising the kids once the relationship is over. Yeah, but people can't seem to navigate that. They can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, on a very large scale, I admire, you want me to tell you who I always have admired? I always have admired Demi Moore and Bruce.
Oh, Bruce Willis. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. I mean, for years, I just saw them like going on vacation. They would go on vacation with their new partners, with their children, all together. They'd go on vacation.
But
that's how you do it.
But isn't Will Smith and his ex-wife and Jada, they're the blended family too as well, right?
I mean, I don't. Is that what we call a blended family? I know that they have.
Yeah, I mean, not blended, but
yeah,
like hands-on co-parenting with the other one.
Yeah,
there's a friendship there, and there's a level of respect. Unfortunately, situations like that and situations like Bruce Willis, and that's a rare. It's more common to have all the turmoil and all the fighting and arguing than it is to have the adult situation where people are actually being adults and being able to really coexist as parents, not together anymore.
I've had some horrible experiences in my personal life. I don't even want to share them, to tell you the truth. They're so horrible, but I can definitely say that it definitely taught me that you have no control over somebody else. That's what it taught me. And the truth is, Google is your friend. Like, Google is my best friend to life, because you can always look up information. And a good thing about Google is you can always figure out, like, how do you navigate stuff like this and really see what other people are doing. Patricia says, not that was true maturity. It was about the children, Bruce and Demi. Yeah. So it was like, I feel like what I learned in co-parenting is your failed relationship has nothing it has zero to do with raising these children. Like
Yeah,
you really need to put that on the shelf and forget about it, and revisit that in your mind or with your girlfriends or what have you. But when it comes to dealing with the children, it becomes a whole new relationship called co-parenting. Like that person and I had children, and now we are now doing this now. Like you got to get it out of your mind. When I hear girlfriends of mine talk about, he had his bitch with him, I'm like, girl, don't you realize how toxic you sound and how small-minded and just ugh.
think
Like
about
when I hear that, I just feel bad for them, because I'm like, you really sound so immature when you're like, oh, I know the type of women he's around, and I don't want my child in that environment.
well, think about the fact that you have these young adults and even teenagers that are having kids together and trying to navigate that, being a mom or a dad at 15, 16, sometimes as young as 14 years old. You a baby your damn self. You're a child your damn self, having a child, and then going all the way through that whole thing of being able to co-parent like that. And that's a nightmare. It's sometimes I hear about it, it's years before the father or the mother, finally get it together and realize what's going on, and it's so toxic for the kids, because they're not dumb at all. They know when there's tension there. They know, and then sometimes it's not even hidden. They'll just sit there and argue and talk bad. And then when one leaves, you want to talk bad about the other one. And when the other one leaves, you want to talk about. So the child feels like they're almost torn. You know what I mean? So
Right.
That's a bad situation all the way around.
I remember when I had to go to a parenting class that the court told me I had to go to.
Damn.
And and it was really good. The guy who led the class was super, like to this day, I remember everything that he was and was about. I don't even remember what he did for a living besides that, but he basically gave his story. Mm-hmm. And his story was basically that he had a daughter with his wife, no longer together. And he didn't reveal like why they broke up. But basically, he was basically like, he made it sure like his world revolved around his daughter. He and his ex-wife organized time, place, and everything. They worked so hard together to make sure this little girl, he said the mother even gave him a key after they broke up.
Wow.
Because he read stories to his daughter on certain nights, and that he can come in the house and go into the room with his child and read stories and put her to bed and go home to his other place. And I was just like, wow, that is such an amazing.
Virginia had just put a really interesting comment up there. You need to read that one.
It seems like Caucasian families are better at co-parenting, as Bruce Willis and Demi Moore did. This seems like a struggle for Black families, and it's sad. It really is. No, I don't think it's a race thing.
Not necessarily all the time. Yeah.
Huh?
I said no, not necessarily all the time, because it does go both ways.
It goes both ways, yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with this is what I see as a big part of sometimes where it goes downhill for people tends to be, so you know how there's certain people that their families and everyone around them, they don't really communicate well. And a lot of their communication is arguing and yelling. Mm-hmm. I tend to find people like that. And they're just, I don't know if I could say it happens to be those of a certain like financial disposition. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
because maturity is something that, or immaturity is something that kind of goes across the board, regardless of what race you are.
Yeah.
There's immature people all the way across the board. Yeah.
Right.
And then when it comes to feelings and emotions, and that takes it to a whole different level.
Yeah, but I also tend to find like people who like are what we call petty and shady and have those types of behaviors tend to be poor communicators. You know what I'm saying?
Holly Hunter said some interesting comments on that comment.
She said, I'm mostly white and my ex and I struggle hard. And she said, he's mostly white too.
You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I don't think it has to do with race. You always see, like, I mean, it depends on where you are. I've had coworkers who are white who had real problems with their exes and with the children and all that stuff. So yeah.
I mean, I've seen it work the other way too. I've seen it to where they were able to come together for family events and stuff like that, you know, where if a child is used to having their mom and dad around on Christmas while they open up their presents or on Thanksgiving and stuff like that, they come around, and it's like I don't even want to say it's a blended type of thing, but it's a maturity level that they're able to sustain during that whole, you know, time for the kids. You know what I mean? Sometimes it could be like, wow, the way I grew up, my dad was in the Navy. He was a career guy, and my stepdad was in the Marines, and he was a career guy too. So when they came together, it was shaking hands. It was that whole respect. They talked and all that. So I never seen that toxic stuff growing up. I never seen people fighting and arguing and acting funny and, you know, rolling their eyes and not, you know what I mean? Like my dad and my stepdad sat there on the couch and had a beer, shake hands, talk military talk and all that. You know what I mean? Because they were real military guys. So it was all foreign to me when I grew up, and I started seeing people do that and having situations. I'm like, who doesn't be mature? Why can't you just be mature?
Right.
And just conversating.
I think, do you think emotional behaviors are taught? That's what I keep feeling. I just keep feeling like people are taught to not be mature about relationships. And I think a lot of people think that once your relationship is over with someone, or once they do, especially once they do you wrong, they probably are trash, but you also just like, okay, well, we're just going to move along and just deal with these kids.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I mean, okay, look at the whole emotional part. You're deeply in love with this person, and now you guys aren't together. Like, just the whole breakup, we'll have to do a topic on that too, you know, dealing with, you know, a breakup and how to process that. But you're trying to process the breakup, but at the same time, you're trying to navigate the parenting part and being able to parent and not let these emotions come in from that relationship. You know what I mean? Because you're back and forth maybe, and you're wondering why. You shaking your head, but this is true. People do wonder why the situation didn't work. They try to make the situation work. You said you went to a parenting class, so I'm sure that was part of the relationship, trying to keep it right together and stuff, or what?
No, that was after it was over.
Oh, okay.
That was basically that's when we went to court for the custody and all that stuff. And he was just basically like, his message was basically like, keep it about the kids all day. I don't care how much you hate her. I don't care how much you love her. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you think about her. I don't care what she did to you. He was like, I don't care what it is. No one is going to take me off of my parenting game, period. And I was just like,
and I 1000% agree with that. It should be like that. It's not always like that, but it should be like that. You know what I mean? It should be where people are really, really able to make it about the kids and be adults about it. But like I say, when emotions get involved, man, you know, it goes way left a lot.
Now, here's another scenario. What happens when, this imaginary couple, this couple is separated. They are co-parenting in a healthy way, but so the woman gets a new boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. She has a new boyfriend, and now the new boyfriend has his little insecure, little shitty ways, and so you, as the father, is trying to come and deal with your child properly. Come over to the house
as an adult, mature.
And so now that there's a new boyfriend in the picture, energy shifts. You get what I'm saying? And so, because now there's another man around, so there's like this chess thing. You know what guys do? The whole gorilla. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a chess thing, and then so there's like a meeting of the like. You know, you're not going to talk to her any kind of way. Like when you come here, you're going to stay at the driveway, at the edge of the driveway. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. which that like.
So I've experienced that, and I've shut it down. So, a woman or man, it doesn't really matter. And my shutdown was this. First and foremost, these children here are none of your business, period. That man is the father. He's here. He's dealing with them. don't ask no questions, don't say nothing. If you don't like it, disappear. I don't know. That might sound rough, but yeah, don't try to get involved because you're not helping.
It's true. Yeah, it's absolutely
You're not
true.
helping. If you're gonna help. If you're not gonna help, disappear for real.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. So it like I say, it all comes back to the being an adult part of it. But then, when you have someone so you guys aren't together, you guys don't live in the same house, but now you have this person trying to tell you how you should run your house. You know what I mean? How you should parent. Like, say, for instance, you have a daughter and she decides she wants to get her ears pierced or her nose pierced or something like that. And you allow it, if you're open-minded or whatever. But then the dad is like, how dare you do that? And you're not a responsible parent. And I'm going to take you to court. And you shouldn't let them get their nose pierced or get a tattoo or whatever. It's somebody trying to tell you how you should run your house. Because this is what happens in your house.
They can't.
Exactly. But
the other parent can't. The other parent cannot. Unfortunately, when the child is with the other parent, you're just going to have to, especially if the two of you have zero communication or very poor communication.
Yeah.
Then honestly, you're just going to have to hold your corner and deal with your child when your child is in your presence, in your home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if your child primarily lives with the other parent, or even if they're visiting and they get their ears pierced or their nose pierced or what have you, and you're not into that, like, that should have been the conversation before you had children. You know what I'm saying? Like that, certain things are like lifestyle choices. You know what I mean? Like, these are conversations you have.
It could be something as simple as what time their bedtime is. If you decide that your child is responsible enough to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, as a teenager, that's your decision. Now, they can't sit there and say, I can't believe you're letting them stay up that late, or, go to bed that early or whatever. It's your house. This is what you are. This is what the rules are. When they're over there, the rules are what they are. But when they're here, you can't tell me how to run. But, it happens. People do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? With the, quote unquote co-parenting. I mean, now let me ask you this. Do you feel as though when people aren't together anymore, should they be having discussions about certain decisions that are being made in the way that you're going to raise the child? Do you think they should talk and have okay.
That's part of co-parenting.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole livelihood, the whole well-being of this individual, these children, should be continuously discussed on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly, every time it's necessary conversation. Yeah. They are supposed to be having it together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, what happens when you have I don't know how I can put it. I don't want to say deadbeat, because it's not even deadbeat. It's just a person that they're not around. And they just decide they want to pop up every, couple of months or every couple of years and decide they want to be a part of that child's life. Like, how do you navigate that as far as even because it's an emotional thing for the child to be like, okay, my dad is here, my mom is here for this amount of time. Now my dad and my mom are gone. I don't hear from them. I don't see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a deadbeat. That would be considered, that's classic deadbeat.
Well, some people say deadbeat is somebody that just doesn't contribute financially. They're just there, but they're not having any responsibilities. So you have different levels of, you have the deadbeat that's not around, but you have the deadbeat that just wants to have all the luxuries without the responsibilities. You see what I'm saying? Yeah,
and there are different ways of being one. But if the parent is not present and the one parent has to do majority of the work, and that definitely will cause resentment. Mm-hmm. And then you want to come whenever you want and just parent, mm-hmm. then your value is diminished, and that's mm-hmm. when it gets really tricky. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And then your input, being able to give is very, very low. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not at all. Yeah.
I mean, the way it should work is like two power parents coming together and like, we're gonna come together and raise this child. Mm-hmm. And we got like, hey, you got him Friday, I gotta do something, like, just have this constant open communication.
It could be even as simple as trying to figure out how to like you think that this particular school is best for your child, and they think the other one is, and they think this is a bad, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen that happen before too. I've seen a parent bring a child into a neighborhood in the school that wasn't the best of environments, and that child turned into a completely different person after that. You know what I mean? Like, they were really good kid. Now all of a sudden they got here, and it's like, but you're trying to give your input. They just don't want to listen because it's like, well, this is my child lives here. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Well, yeah. If that's the case, if you have a better situation for the child, it's time for you to pick up the child and put him in a better school situation. Because, if I mean, I see that. I've seen that before. I've seen that where like one, especially economically, where one parent is like living in a less than desirable neighborhood, and their child is in a really poor environment, and the other parent is complaining. And I'm just like, how are you complaining when you have a whole house over here? You know what I'm saying? Go pick up your child and say, I want my child to live with me over here so my child can go to a better school and have a better life. And you come and visit and you come and deal with your child on this side of the track. Yes. Like, let's be real. Oh, well, yeah, the child's supposed to be over there, and they don't want it. They don't want the full-time responsibility to deal with.
Well, but what about when they have the okay, something's going on, you kind of fix the situation and you send it back, and all of a sudden it goes back again. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, when the parents say, you need to go live with your dad for a while, you need to live with your mom for a little while, then all of a sudden, everything is good, and now I'm ready to have them back, and they get back, and all of a sudden they just let them go back to all that everything they fixed. You know what I mean?
Say that. I clear it up for me, because I'm kind of
okay. So
back to what?
So say for instance, and I'm gonna kind of flip the script. A single parent. I'm a single parent, right? And say I have a daughter, and the daughter is just not kind of on the right path on certain things that they need to be on the right path with. And you as a parent, the wife says, or the ex-wife or whatever says, I need her to come stay with me for a while. I can get her back on track. Okay, you get her back on track, and we say, okay. Dad, I want her to come back to live with me now. Okay, I'm gonna let you come back. Now she goes back, and all of a sudden, boom! Now she's back.
She's back to the old way.
Going back
because the environment.
Yeah, well, not even that. Sometimes it's like you have to kind of enforce what the other parent is saying, even though you're not together no more. Y'all live in the same house, but if you're putting in these set of standards or these values of living, or just whatever, I'm trying to think of which you could kind of have a certain opinion on parenting and raising a child. You know what I mean? Like, say, for instance, the grades. They're not having good grades. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden now you have a parent that, okay, I'm going to get their grades right. I know how to tutor them, and I can get them all right. So they just need to get in the habit of doing this when it comes to school. All of a sudden they go back. Now they want to be lazy again, and they don't want to do all the things they need to do in school because they didn't stay on that routine. Right.
And then the routine is different, and one parent is lazier than the other. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's this thing called, and this is probably the worst form of child abuse there is out here. The worst. It's called parental alienation. Parental alienation is when one of the parents, like through manipulation, through conversations, even through space and time, they alienate the other parent from the child. Yeah. And a lot of it is like that kind of stuff. We're like, oh, your father's no good. Oh, he ain't coming no way.
Yeah.
He don't love you. You get what I'm saying? Like the stuff like that.
And it kind of, sometimes it's both sides. Like they're going over here, they're hearing it here, and they're going over there, they're hearing it there. So it's emotionally taking its toll on them. You know what I mean? It's stressful. It's like, but this is my mom, but this is my dad. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear every time they get around mom's talking bad about dad. Every time they get around dad is talking bad about mom. And,
well, my question to the adults in the room.
Okay.
What kind of common sense has anyone, how in the world is anyone talking negatively about the other parent in front of their own children? How does that make sense to anyone?
Sometimes it ain't even in front of them, it's to them.
To them, exactly. Yeah. To them or in front of them. How does that make sense to anyone? How does that make sense? Like that, what are you doing? What are you doing? That just that's the absolute wrong thing to do. Like, does anyone not realize that?
Yeah.
Do people not realize that? I'm just trying to figure it out. Anybody out here can please tell me, do you guys realize that talking negatively about the other parent to the child is absolutely a no? Does anyone know that?
So counterproductive, yeah. But it's stressful. Like I said, it puts a lot of stress on the child because the child feels like they're stuck. They got to choose. They should never have to feel like they got to choose.
Ever.
But then
Parental
that's not
alienation should be illegal. There's no real way that they can. I've talked to lawyers about this. There's really no way that they can like prove it necessarily, but it's so horrible. I mean, I'm actually in groups about parental alienation.
Wow.
And it's like there's thousands and thousands of people who deal with this every day. And this is part of the breakup and the emotional situation that happens to the children when parents who cannot communicate break up. They go to court. One is given custody, the other one is on the outside, and then the one who has custody treats the other one like trash. Like, I used to really think for a long time that a lot of men who leave and really don't participate in their children's life were really deadbeats, right? And some are.
Yeah.
And some are. However, people really have to know that there are some women out here that are so trifling, they make it very difficult for a man to father his children.
Absolutely, yeah.
They make it hard for him to come by, to see them, to take them, to do anything. I don't want you around that woman. They make it so fucking ridiculous that it just is like, it's pathetic. I know a friend of mine, he even said it, and it wasn't really until he said it that I realized, like, this must be the story for a lot of men across the board. He was like, you know what? I'm backing up. I'm out of here. When my daughter wants to come and deal with me and call me, she can call me at any time. But to deal with like being abused on a constant, regular basis, just to deal with my own child, I don't even want to do it. I just don't want to have anything to do with that woman. She's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do that.
Well, another thing too is like, sometimes when you have that, I don't want to say criticism, but you have that concern, sometimes it's justified, because I want to say not too long ago, it might have been last week, there was a situation where the boyfriend killed the child because the child did something to piss him off. It was something that was so minor. I can't remember what it was, but I read the title of the headline, and I was just like, man, like, the parent failed. Like, how would you allow someone to hurt your child or be around your child that even has the potential of hurting your child? You know what I mean? But I think it was a 3-year-old baby. Yeah,
that's hot. That's a whole nother. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, when sometimes it's over exaggerated, the concern that you have for that other parent as far as how they're treating or who they're having around them. But sometimes it's a justified concern. You know what I mean?
I personally feel very strongly that the majority of the trash relationships, the trash co-parenting that you see out here is the fault of the mother.
Really?
Yes. I am a firm, you know why? Because I have lots of girlfriends, and a lot of them are totally dysfunctional when it comes to how they deal with their exes. Like 90% of them. They treat them like dirt. There's no real like open communication. They judge who they're now seeing. They're a mess. They are all a mess. And I won't say all, majority of them though. And I feel like I'm going to use, and I feel like my friends are from different demographics and definitely educated. And I just feel like I find that women screw up the co-parenting in all the things we've listed already. The emotional triggers, there's cheating going on, they're still upset, they're upset that the relationship ended, and all kinds of bullshit, because they just can't navigate and like just turn the channel and be like, okay, we're now doing something different. And I just feel like I mean, there are guys that are really trash out here, but honestly, I know most of the men that I know want to be a father to their children, want to be there, want to support, want to do the right thing. And they have to fight and navigate this dumbass emotional bitch. And they just can't. And it just is like, it's very hard. It's hard.
Do you think some of this could relate to a generational thing? Some people call it generational curses, where that's how they seen their parents operating, so they figure that's the way to operate. So they do that. So it's like, where do you cut that off? Where do you kind of take a step back and say, well, maybe this is not right. Maybe that wasn't, because I always say, it seems like we always say we want to do better than our parents or be better than our parents. But is that always the case? Or is the case sometimes we're so much like them that we do some of the same things that,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I think people don't know how to communicate, and they don't know how to talk to people. So all they see is people yelling and cursing and raising their voice. So that's all they know. They don't know that you can actually sit down and have a proper conversation. They just don't know that. They just don't know that just because we're not involved anymore, we don't have to hate each other. You know what I mean? Okay, our relationship is over, but I still like you as a human being. I still respect you as a human being.
And like you can do that without, you don't have to have that immaturity where you act like you can't be friends, or you can't talk, or you can't, have a decent conversation.
I have a very dear friend. She's an elder. I would consider her an elder. She's in her 60s and maybe going on somewhere between 60 and 70, maybe I'll say mid, right?
Okay.
I consider her an elder, and we talk all the time. And we talk deeply, and we were talking about parenting pretty recently. And we had this very same conversation. And I'm so happy she said it. And I'm so happy she said it, because she said, Sky, I am not emotionally mature. She said it. She said, I will not. She was married to her husband. Her husband cheated. She ended the relationship. Everything we talked about, she did it. And she said, Sky, I just don't care. She's like, I don't give a F. Yeah. I'm not emotionally mature. I don't want my child around that woman. I didn't want my child. She made it very difficult. But I'm glad she knew. I'm glad she said, because when she said, after she told me all the stuff she did to her husband, her ex-husband, and then she said, Sky, I'm not like you. That's awful. Because she's like, you can switch your channels and you can do all those little, change to the next thing, blah, blah, blah. Most people can't do that. She said, I definitely couldn't do that. I was in love with this man. He was the love of my life. We were going to live together forever. And he went and fucked up. And now I have to navigate. And I didn't want my child over there. And she told me, and this was like, her son is 40 something years old.
Wow.
And she was like, this was like 35 years ago. You get what I'm saying?
And still felt that strongly about it.
Very strongly.
Wow.
He's like, I don't give a F. There's no woman going to come up there and be in my son's face and braid my son's hair and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, that's trash behavior, right? You're trash for that, for even, knowing that
you got to give her props for being able to actually acknowledge that.
She acknowledged it at her age now. You get
okay.
Like sometimes
sometimes it never even happens, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like she probably during the time didn't realize she was emotionally immature. She didn't realize that. A lot of people will never realize that. At least she says, I know now. But folks, Virginia says something. That's deep for a person to admit they're not emotionally mature. That means she knows what she's doing. Yep.
At an older age.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think she was saying, I know I'm not. She's like, I know I'm not emotionally mature. But a lot of people need to realize, they need to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm not emotionally mature. I cannot navigate this because my feelings are all involved. I'm swimming deep in the pool of resentment, and I cannot co-parent properly. And I'm making this more difficult than it needs to be.
So let me ask you a question. What? Because I unfortunately it takes time. But in your opinion, what do you feel like should be the age where a person should be able to come to the level of maturity to be able to co-parent right without having to be immature? Like when is enough? When is that time? Like, okay, it's been now. We had a child when we were 20, 21, huh?
So what's the age? So the truth is it should be no age, because first of all, people should be having children staying together. That's in the ideal world, right?
Yes. And in the perfect world, yes.
The reality is most relationships are not going to last. So I don't think there's an age, but the age definitely has to be if you're mature enough to lay down with somebody. This is what my mom said. My mom said, if you can open them, you can have a child for them. Okay.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, that's what she said to me. So she said, any man you're involved with, you can potentially have a child with. So make sure that you would want to have a child with that person. I was like, I don't really look at every guy as a potential father, but I got what she was saying. I got the message, right? So here's Brian Ralph. Brian Ralph is in the house. He says, when the other stops being selfish and it's not about me or you, it's about the kids. Yep. We're on that same page, Brian.
All on that same page.
But yeah, if you're old enough to have a child, you're also old enough to co-parent, because co-parenting begins before you break up. You get what I'm saying?
What about when the parents, the grandparents, have a negative just influence on the other parent, or not on the other parent, but on the parent themselves? So like the guy's mother, because you might have a mama's boy and they want to sit there and tell you, I never did like her anyway, and you need to be doing this, and he's not able to be a man enough to say, Mom, this is my business, let me handle it, but he wants to sit there and let her kind of influence how he should deal with the situation or feel the situation. Like what do you think about that one?
That's the helicopter parenting. I mean, I think it takes a village anyway. So like when you say that, I think about my own son who has a child, and I definitely try to instill, as much positivity into him and to his daughter's mom as I can. I mean, but at the end of the day, I'm really hands off because that's their child.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And I can say as much as I want to say, but that's up to them how they want to raise their child.
What about people when they have the mindset that blood is thicker than water? So even if your son or daughter is wrong, you're still going to kind of side with them. Do you think that happens?
If my child is wrong, my child is wrong. I don't have no time for wrong. Like we're not going to be right if we're wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have some parents that are like that. It's like, that's my baby, that's my son, that's my daughter, and I don't care what she does, I'm going to be on her side. It's being able to be what's the word I'm looking for? An outside opinion that's not biased.
Well, I remember I have a girlfriend in this was from Baltimore, and I just admired the way she parented. She was like, when I saw her as a gangster parent.
She's a gangster parent, okay.
But when I say gangster parent, I mean like gangster, I'm using it as like she was just really a good mom. Like I admired her, like stuff that I was still trying to figure out and navigate. She had her children in order, right? She's a single mom. She had 3 girls. And she would say things that just made so much sense. And she would say to them, the world don't love you like I love you.
That's true.
She was like, if I beat you, you rather me than the world beat you. And I was like, wow.
That's a whole different topic that we have to go over one day too as well.
Yeah.
Good point.
And she didn't really mean beat in the sense of beating. She just meant like punish. Like if you want me to punish you, or you want to go out there and get punished.
Well, I'm going to give you the
world out there is not going to punish you the way I will. You're going to feel worse. I was just like, whoo. I was just always been impressed. And her daughters are lovely. I'm just enamored by her parenting. So yeah, I don't know. What about you? Have you had those types of experiences with co-parenting?
As far as
drama and negativity?
Yeah, I guess I can say I have. I can say I have. I've had, but at the end of the day, I can't put it all on them. I have to put it on myself too. You know what I mean? I know I probably made some wrong decisions and did some wrong things as far as that goes. But, it's peeling back the layers of the whole situation and the relationship and stuff. And just, getting the maturity level there. And then all of a sudden feeling like, damn, why do I always got to be the bigger person? How come this person can't be, mature as well? So that part of it comes into play as well.
Because you're fabulous.
No, I wasn't always,
Well, if you say you're the bigger person, you're fabulous.
Oh yeah, I was a bigger person, but I had to grow to that where I was able to be the bigger person, and they weren't able to let go of whatever they needed to let go of, so we can kind of move past what we need to move past. But
it's rough out here. It is rough out here. Ryan says, raised both of my sons since they were 3 and 4. They are now 27 and 25, grown and out of the house. Ryan, did you raise them by yourself? Were you a single father? I don't know. It sounds like that. But yeah, I just feel like there has to be a way for folks to get over themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they're blocking their children from being happy. You know?
Absolutely.
It's just so miserable when you have two parents fighting each other. Ugh, that's horrible.
It's something to navigate, and hopefully this video may give some people some insight on how to do the co-parenting thing, and maybe make them look in the mirror and be reflective on the toxic part of the actual
them. Maybe it's them.
Yeah.
I just read that today. And I said that to a friend this week. I was like, maybe it's you.
Yeah, sometimes you got to look in the mirror and see, and I need to do better. You know what I mean? And sometimes hearing it from an outside source that you're totally not connected to or have any kind of relationship with, you can receive it a little bit better versus somebody close to you telling you, because sometimes you just want to get defensive. Right. And not even want to hear that. And
that reminds me. So here's another thing. Years ago, I went and did mediation training, right? So I'm a trained. Yeah, so I'm a trained mediator.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And there was a special mediation training that I also went on to do, which was parenting mediation. And so in Baltimore, there's this organization called the Community Mediation Program, which if anyone in the Baltimore area hears about this, it's a free service for the community. And it's definitely the parenting part of it is something that every parent needs that has these problems needs to use, because it's brilliant. Okay. And if you're not in Baltimore, I don't know if they probably have other free community mediation programs in the US somewhere. But let me tell you about this. First of all, mediation is just basically creating an environment where people can communicate and bringing consensus to some of the issues that they have. Like, for example, all the things, like some parents cannot speak at all. They can't speak to each other, but they have concerns, right? So the schooling, the education, the visitation, money, finances, there's all these different things that go around their children's lives that they can't navigate. Mediation is so brilliant because you have a neutral party who's not involved and is trained not to become involved in the drama. You get what I mean? So we're trained to just pull out information and help navigate it like on a plate. Navigate it on a plate and then just help them, facilitate them into creating an agreement, basically. An agreement that they sign. And it's very difficult to do because you have to navigate through the cursing and the but you did this,
the emotions, and
you have to sit there and navigate through a lot of the toxic bullshit that they bring, because they bring a whole plate full of it.
Now, how do you do that when it starts getting very intense and people just, like I said, going into their emotions and not really going off of what they should be? How do you navigate that?
Sounds like you're frustrated.
No, that's what you
Sounds like you're angry. Sounds like you're resentful. Sounds like you feel like you're not being heard. Sounds like you've been hurt. Yes, I have been. But because that motherfucker went and he took all my money. He took all my money and he was messing with this bitch out there and he got a baby with her. And now I got to have my kid over in that. Sounds like you really would like to, you get what I'm saying? So you have to like just pull out what they're feeling. A lot of feeling and emotion. Say, sounds like you really would like to resolve. Sounds like you would really like to resolve this.
Empathetic to the whole conversation, huh?
It's funny because at the end you feel beat up. You feel beat up by their stuff.
Because you have to absorb all that anger and negative energy.
And it bounces off of you. So you have to be really strong about it. And I think that a lot of people need to go to mediation. And if not mediation, some sort of a therapy. You know what I mean? I think mediation is way better only because it allows for the two to really communicate and get it out. It's a very healing process. It's a way for them to get it out and really, and then you just start writing notes and the mediator, and sometimes there's two, start really pulling out the facts. Like, this is what we're really trying. Now that you've like cursed out and said all the shit and all the crap that is bothering you, the real issue is he needs a new pair of sneakers. Okay. Who's purchasing, like we start getting the facts. We have to eliminate the garbage, and you start getting the facts down, and you start, okay, he needs a new pair of sneakers. No one is available to pick him up on Friday. And these are the issues. And so now how can we like start putting this like, oh, it's a beautiful process. It is so beautiful. And I think a lot more people need to go to mediation, not only for co-parenting, because that's what this topic is all about, but for a lot of negative issues that are going on in their lives with people they can't communicate with, relationships, co-workers, et cetera, neighbors.
And once again, like I said, hopefully somebody looks at this video, sees this video, and they're able, everybody that's watching, like it and share it, please. If you like it, share it. And hopefully some people can get a little bit of understanding of that. And like I said, coming from an outside source, sometimes that's received a little bit better than, people that are close to you like that, because you just don't want to listen to, what that person is saying or what that opinion might be. But definitely good advice. So I think so.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Good advice there, Sky Juice. We gonna get this.
It just came to me, actually.
Oh, it just came to you. Okay, see, you just manifested some things there. Just kind of came out. And
yeah, I almost forgot about mediation, but mediation really, especially this is co-parenting. Mediation is probably the number one use of mediation. Because bringing in anyone else is going to go against. It's like bringing like if you try to have a conversation with maybe like a pastor could be a mediator too. Yeah. But just someone neutral who's really like, I'm here for both of y'all. Yeah. The only thing is I find that trained mediation is a little bit better than a mediator doesn't have an opinion.
Yes. So there's no side.
It's neutral. Yeah. Like, I don't care what he did to you. Yeah. I'm really here to it's really like I'm just listening to what is going on, and I'm just really trying to get out what is it you guys are trying to accomplish here, because all the other stuff is the toxic stuff. Oh, we have a question. I like it. How would you address a situation about a parent handing over the responsibilities to a new female in the kid's life? Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna guess.
Good question.
I'm going to guess what this situation is, because it's not enough, but I'm going to say, is this about, okay, this is the picture I got in my head. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, say, for example, the father works a lot, right? He has one of those schedules, like you, Tony. He works till the late night, and he's gone for many hours of the day, but he has a new girlfriend. And so now, when his kids come over, his girlfriend is really primary caretaker of his children because he's not around. I'm going to guess. Does that sound about what she said? Does that sound like right? Or is that
kind of sounds like that. Yeah. I think we were talking about that earlier, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. You answer
it. For me, sometimes it's a situation where you have to ask yourself, is this person that you chose to have a child with, do you feel like that person is a responsible enough person to make sure that the people that they have around their child are going to be, keep them safe, provide a safe environment for them, and be able to give the right type of decisions, make the right type of decisions and choices for that child while you're not around. You know what I mean? And then another thing I would say too, have you been able to meet that person? Have you been able to sit down and talk with that person? That's two adults, and find out where their mindset, where their head is at. You know what I mean? So I think all of those things come into play. But if it was a decision that was made without any conversation with the other half, or having the other half even being able to meet that other person, because once you talk about responsibilities, this person is going to be making decisions in his child's life. And you want to be able to know this person to a certain degree and know how their mindset is, and be like, I'm okay with that, or I don't think I'm okay with that. So that's what I think.
I think that, how would you address a situation about a parent? Okay. The unfortunate part is the person who you have a child with, you just have to hope that they didn't lose their everlasting mind and have their child around anybody who would do harm to your child.
Yes.
Because the reality is we work and we're not around, and whatever the situation is, they're going to be around a different clientele than what they were used to in your home. But really, you can know who the other female is and what have you, but I don't really think there's much there's really nothing to address. What are you addressing? I'm not addressing anything.
But being able to talk to that person and
I mean, having a relationship with that person would be ideal.
Yes, absolutely.
That's ideal. That would be the better way of going about it. But having a negative opinion, like, I don't really like that person, it's not your choice.
Yeah, it's not your choice. Yeah.
It's not your choice. And you really, like, I don't really like her. I don't really like, she's okay, but I don't, oh, I posted it on my page a couple days ago and this is something I could have brought up earlier, but anyway, it just came up, is similar to what Angela said. The child was at the ex-husband's house, and his new wife put her hands on the child as in discipline, right? So the wife this was a text thing. The wife texted the father and said, the ex-wife texted the father and said, I need to have a conversation with you and whatever the girlfriend's name is. And he said, why? He said, yeah, because, Tommy, or whatever the child's name is, said that she put her hands on him, and I don't want her to be beating on my child. I don't want her to discipline my child. If you have to do it, that's different. But you get what I'm saying?
Angela just gave some responses to what we said about the question, which it sounds like, oh wow, yeah. See, okay.
Back to Angela.
Yeah.
It says, Tony, you said it. I've never met her, and she refuses to meet me.
Yeah, that's.
I don't think that's a big deal.
No, I think it is when you have a person that, just like you said, this person is going to be making decisions and have responsibilities regarding your child. I think it's not a problem.
It's more grown and mature to be able to have conversations with them, and especially if they're primary in your child's life.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What if a situation occurs to where it's something that the other parent should be able to make a decision? She should be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Angela, such is going on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But to make that decision yourself, no. So
no, I agree. I'm just saying, okay, if she refuses to meet her, she's pressuring my kids to accept her as being the new mother.
No, it don't work like that.
So if she refuses to meet her, that's definitely the red flag right there.
Yeah. Because
if you're the mother of the children, then having a phone conversation is really pretty simple. And the father probably is either not navigating that properly. He should be like, I need you to talk to my children's mom, just so you guys can know each other and have each other's phone number, since you're going to be here in the house with them most of the time. That's what you should do. Yeah. You absolutely do. Maisha says, I need to know who my child is with and where they live. Yeah, where they live. How about that part?
Yeah, that part. So
I've been through that already.
I
Yeah,
think it's big. Yeah, that's
it's
important.
huge. But anyway, back to what I was saying earlier. So in the case of the mother said she wants to have a conversation with the father and his new person because she put her hands on the son. And then it became this whole, you can go back on the page, it became this whole conversation and he was like, we have nothing to talk about. My child is in the house. My woman is here, and he was disrespectful or whatever happened, and she put her hands on it. And I gave her permission to do so because that is my child, and she is a mother too.
Now, let me say something. In this day and age, even spanking your child can be looked at as child abuse. So when you have something that's not even your child that's putting, it might be charges that can be brought up against that person for that.
Yeah. I feel like in that situation, anyone other than the actual biological parents you shouldn't put hands on nobody else's child. I wouldn't even feel right doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Definitely talk to a child who's around me and be like, no. That's not what we do here. You gotta,
especially if that other parent is active in that child's life.
If they're there.
Yeah, especially like, yeah. Like, I'm about to tell your mama and she about to tear your ass up. I'm gonna say some stuff like that. I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like, oh, she gonna get your ass for that. You know I'm about to tell her. You know what I mean? That's what I'm gonna do, but I wouldn't put my hands on. Afraid. Yeah, it's going.
Yeah, but beating someone else's child, that's a hard no.
Yeah,
that's a hard no. That's like you
all day long. Yeah.
What in the hell is going on? Like, people, I don't know. That's just ridiculous. But anyway, Angela, the father needs to navigate that. You need to have an adult conversation. And unfortunately, sometimes you're not dealing with adults, but you have to be like, if my children is with your new female, a lot of the time, I need to be able to have an open conversation. We are grown. Yeah. And if you can't navigate that, it's awful. It's just awful. So, and it definitely speaks to their maturity. This is all about maturity here. So I think for the night we are groovy. How are you feeling, Tony?
I think it's time to sign off. I think we done gave a good show. Hopefully people will like it and share it. And like I said, hopefully maybe some advice or some opinions or some viewpoints might be used by some people to help them out in their situation. Because like I said, there's no book on parenting. There's no book on co-parenting. But if you want to start somewhere, you want to start at being an adult and being able to be mature. That's where you would start at. Yeah.
Absolutely.
From there. So that's
look in the mirror.
Yeah.
So absolutely. All right, Tony. It's been dope. So have a great evening, y'all. And we will
welcome, Angela, anytime.
All right. Peace.
Peace.